But when you first get into mixing, the first thing that most people tell you is like, hey dude, man, like how do you get your record loud and how do you do this and how do you do that? And this is the first thing where you drink the Kool-Aid and you drink the wrong Kool-Aid. You get into your Pro Tools session or your Cubase session or your Logic session or whatever session, Reason, FL Studio, and you start pegging meters. And why does this not help you? You got to understand one thing, and I'm here to help, so don't think I'm like being a jerk here. I'm just here to help. But if you have one track going and you have that at its top peak, then you add another track and you put that to the top, then you add the third track and then you add that to the top. What you're doing is, in a sense, you ate up all your real estate or headroom. Now most converters, even the top shelf converters, cannot possibly reproduce that sound correctly because you're actually pushing it too hard into the converter, and what it's doing is making the sound, as it makes it louder, it makes it smaller. There's certain tools at the end of the session that we use, like I just downloaded Slate Digital's plugins. Those are phenomenal. Fortunately, by the grace of God, we have a Manly MU, a Manly Massive, and a SSL compressor. I'm good friends with my buddy Freddie. This has APIs, and we actually have some 2As that we can use on that bus. I have a session going on, so I'm not going to use all this stuff. I'm just going to show you with the bus compressor. But I'm going to show you the correct level in Pro Tools, and then you can relate that to your other DAWs. So if you don't use Pro Tools, don't turn this off. That doesn't mean you're not going to learn something, you know? Like somebody be like, oh gosh, I'm not a Pro Tools user. So anyways, I'm going to show you something. I'm going to open up the Apogee screen, and I'll zoom in so you can see this. Then I'm going to open up the Pro Tools screen here. I believe it's Preferences, Operation. There it is. So I'm going to show you on the screen what it shows. It says a calibration level. Okay, now it's like, what is that? Like, what is calibration? Well, this is how it works with my converter, so check it out. Its calibration reference level is -16 dB. Well, let me show you here on the screen. So if you look at that, now you're going to see my converter. Now you notice here it says -16 dB. That's my digital reference level for my Apogee. If you see over here, let's see if you can see that. But it says -16 digital reference. That's my inputs, and my outputs should correspond to that. We're at +4 analog level. What does that mean? That means that's a professional standard. Most equipment is at +4. Now, if you hook up your iPod and stuff like that, it might be -10. But most speakers we want to reproduce that at +4. That's more of a professional level, where -10 is a consumer level. So a DVD player hooked up to a pair of speakers may be a -10 signal, okay? So check this out. When you show yourself up on a, let me see if I can get a meter here. Let's get it on screen. There you go. So if you look at this meter, let's move this, there it is. As you can see this meter, if you look at this screen, the meter should only be about halfway up. If you look over to the side here, I hope you can see that. Let me move this up just a tad. Sorry, guys. Sorry there, fellas. Let's scroll down. But -16 is right here. Okay? This is -16 on this meter. That is your reference level. Your signal should be coming in right about here. So check this out. If you listen to this, that's an optimum level for that drum pattern. What that's going to do is give us so much headroom as we add instruments. Check this out. not sort of, it will start to blur those frequency ranges because it can't really make out what it's trying to do, and you got way too much going, and it's clipping the converter, and you got all your outputs to 1 and 2. That's where summing boxes came from. They're like, ooh, if we can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, then we'll get a little bit more of an image because you're using more converter channels. In that case, it does sound a little bit better, a little bit imaged, a little wider, but you still want to stay around this kind of level. You don't want to be pushing it too hot, because what happens is all those tracks bust to that master volume. And when the first track is already too loud, when you bust 9 more tracks to it, it's gone. As we produced this song, this was just something we put together really quick, but if I put a piano part, a string part, a bass part, hi-hats, you know, more melodic stuff, and then a vocal, because the vocal's so dynamic, you're going to run out of headroom. So let me hit play on this and mess around with the bus compressor and turn it up so you can hear what I'm talking about. Listen to how big this recording sounds. I haven't mixed it at all. This is just the basic stock sounds from Contact. So check this out. So we're going to hit play on this. Let you hear it. The kick and the snare, now it has dynamics, okay? You can hear the nuances of the snare, you can hear the kick, everything sounds bigger, and we're only halfway up the meter. This is what I'm saying. I'm literally not even hitting that bus compressor. I can turn that bus compressor up, but now I have headroom to work on other things, put other parts in, create dynamics, then tighten it up. Okay, the goal here is this. What happens that a lot of people don't understand is our job as an engineer is to take something that sounds very dynamic and natural. If you listen back when I pushed all those levels up, it started to sound unnatural. And to a human being, it sounds weird and you turn it off. What a guy is going to say on this video is, well, Doug, my style is this, so we're gonna, like, I like my drums smacking, okay? I like it hitting hard. Well, that's a good thing, okay? If you like hitting, you know, drums that hit hard, you will become such a better engineer if you can make them hit hard at that level. A brick wall on it, okay? So the brick wall was meant or designed to work on a -16 RMS. I mean a -16 dBFS. And what that means to you guys, you musicians out there that aren't techies, it's halfway up on the meter. It's not meant to be compressing a 0 peak in the digital domain. So when I push play on these drums, I mean, they're brick walled where they should be. I mean, those things were slapped. Check it out. This is where I mix. Now watch where Pro Tools put this is a preset in Pro Tools, and we'll end the video like this. But this is the preset in Pro Tools where it set the limiter. It'll blow your mind. Like, you'll be like, "Oh my gosh, Doug, you're right." But look at where the arrow is. If you're familiar with Pro Tools, you've seen this plugin. But watch when I hit play, when I just mix that drum kit to sit around -16. Keep your eye on the meter. Check this out. That's insane. To anybody that understands what I just did, that's halfway up. You can see the meter at the bottom left-hand corner. In Pro Tools, you see how the right channel's peeking out? That brick wall's holding it down. Now it's still getting past, so we can crunch it a little bit more. But that's what these things are meant to do. You'll become a better mixing engineer overnight. I wish you guys a Merry Christmas. This is 2016 going into 2017. But this kind of video is what we needed. Because I get so many mixes that are missing the boat because you're overusing your plugins. Your plugins aren't operating at their normal level. You might have some awesome presets in the box. A lot of the plugins from Waves and some of the greatest engineers on the planet, they give you these presets, but you're never going to get your presets to work if you're not in the right ballpark. So as you noticed with this, when I opened that up, this plugin, Brick Wall Limiter, set itself to around negative 16 in my DAW. Now it brick walls that sound. It's absolutely insane, is it not? So the last thing I want to say on this video is there's no right or wrong way to mix a record, okay? But this kind of video can give you the confidence. One of the things that I've seen that come in on my emails, and guys call me on the phone, guys that send me tracks, they get so backwards about this that they're like, Doug, I don't know what to do, man. It just doesn't sound good. It sounds horrible. And I would say this. I would say I will work with everybody, but 80 to 90% of the people that I work with that are independent artists, just because you're a great musician doesn't necessarily mean you're a great software tech, that you know about Pro Tools, that you know about this. There's amazing guitar players that don't know about Pro Tools. There's amazing musicians, rappers, artists, singers, and if you have a talent and you feel that you have a song together, my job is, it really is, I got two hats. I'm a mixing engineer and I'm a mastering engineer by trade. They're two different sessions. The master bus here was the mastering. The mixing was that, okay? I'm telling you, you got to keep this down. You quit pushing your levels so hot. You're losing all your headroom. The song's getting small. The bit depth and doing all these other things past that point makes no sense. And I want to say this with confidence to people to give you a little bit of a boost for the new year. If you stick to keeping your levels like this, and then just turn your monitors up, you know, with your interface, you're going to understand that, wow, this sounds good, and it gives room. Once you've got an awesome song, have confidence in that song. Look at every song as an opportunity. Look at it as it's going to be on iTunes, it's going to be on digital distribution, we can get it copyright, we can have we can make this happen. This is the year, and this is the new age of taking your song, posting it to Instagram, Facebook, all these things, and really having confidence that you can make a record that makes a difference. But I think what most people are doing is they're never getting a professional sound, because this is the first stage. I promise you. Getting this right. I went into a studio. I said I was going to end with that, but I'll end with this. I got 1 minute left. I went into a studio and I went, this guy was distraught. I could see it was starting to weigh on him, and it was making him feel bad. And he was like, dude, I know I'm not that bad, dude. This stuff sounds, we sat back with him, and I did exactly what I did on this video. We turned the levels down. We brought everything back down to earth. We started using and incorporating the hardware in his studio and the EQs, and we started, it just really went back to the basics, and I said, mix it like you would a record, like get your guitars how you want it, but leave them in this range. Don't leave them way up here, because that's what everybody wanted to do. And he started to stack these tracks and stack these tracks and stack these tracks, and it was like this smile was happening, and I'm like, it's not you're a bad engineer, okay? You could be a great engineer. But remember, you don't have to put yours on 11 every single time.